I'm Insomniac, and this is Peet's Coffee, Major Dikason's blend. Alright, well, first of all, a big shout out to Calvin Ashton for sending this coffee in. Super appreciated. He sent this in at least 2 or 3 weeks ago, if not longer than that, but I got a little backed up with the coffee. Anyway, here we are. The packaging, which is obviously, as I always say, not the most important part of the coffee, but the aesthetics count for something. Kind of cheesy. Kind of looks like the Peet's Coffee font was something that they picked off of Microsoft Word, and there's coffee beans? I mean, that's about the most no-shit thing you could put on a bag of coffee.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
I don't know, it's kind of cheesy. And then Major Dikason's blend, I didn't look into the brand, so I'm not really sure who that is. But then over here, 1969, our first store on Vine Street. Loyal customer Key Dikason approaches Alfred Peet with his own blend. Mr. Peet tinkers, before you know it, our all-time bestseller is born. Well, that didn't really answer the question at all. Who the hell is Major Dikason?
Come on, seriously, who is that?
He's a friend to Alfred Peet. I guess Alfred Peet is Pete from Peet's Coffee. Anyway, that doesn't tell you much.
Completely useless.
Let's get to the more important stuff. This is a whole bean coffee. See, there you go, beans. Not ground. I will grind it on camera in the grinder that nobody likes. And out of the bag, the first thing I get is actually a nice kind of chocolate, like a milky chocolate cake. That kind of chocolate. And there's a nice light tobacco leaf aroma in there. Root beer. Yes, root beer has that nice kind of almost, well, it smells like damn root beer. I don't really need to elaborate on that. If you haven't had root beer, you're missing out. Go try some. And a little bit of spice. I can't really tell what spice, but seems to be a little bit of a tingle in there of some kind. Oh, that's what I'm getting without brewing it, so let's grind it up and actually make some. Alright, so we have some of this Peet's Coffee brewed up. See what it smells like. Oily chocolate. So we kept some of the chocolate that we had in that bag, and there's a little bit of a chili pepper spice, so that spice that I couldn't identify out of the bag, that turned into chili pepper when you put water through it. It's a bit of a moist, cakey scent in there. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of sugary sweetness in the aroma after you brew it. It kind of smells like somebody added a bunch of sugar to it, which obviously I didn't. Just a really nice, kind of big and smooth aroma overall. You do get a lot of nice scents out of this coffee. Well, let's see what it tastes like. Interestingly enough, earth and tobacco.
This leaf right here.
This leaf right here.
Not exactly what I expected, but that's mostly what you get. And that tobacco rides well into the finish. Second flavor I get, you're gonna think this is ridiculous, newspaper. And that's not just the flavor, it's also the mouthfeel. It just kind of has like a really thin, papery, and I don't mean thin as in just kind of watery or not a lot of body. There actually isn't a whole lot of body either, but kind of like a papery mouthfeel and kind of a papery flavor. Then a tiny bit of that chili pepper spice that I was getting out of the aromas, that does make it in there as a flavor. There's a little bit of that. And then mixed in on the finish, along with that tobacco flavor, there's a bit of oak. So you do have a kind of good woody flavor in there too. And the thing is, those flavors all together, although not amazing, it's not a bad combination of flavors, but the whole profile overall doesn't have a whole lot of rich body to it. And I brew my coffee on the stronger side, so I definitely don't think it's a brew ratio thing. It's just not giving me a whole ton of flavors. There's definitely a lot more aroma than there is flavor in this coffee. And that's a little bit disappointing because honestly, based on the aromas I was getting and the amount of aromas I was getting, I was expecting a little bit more out of the flavor. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't suck. Not by any means. I think it's a pretty good, smooth, you can kind of drink it anytime, kind of background coffee. You know, the type of coffee you have with a meal or this or that, and you're not really looking at the coffee as the center of attention, as it were. But the flavors don't stack up to the aromas, that's for sure. So if I were gonna rate this on a scale from 1 to 10 Mike Tysons, I'd give it 6.5. Like I said, definitely doesn't suck, but the flavors just, like I said, didn't stack up to the aromas exactly. Didn't have a lot of body to them. Definitely wasn't as interesting to drink as it was the smell. And obviously, you know, the main event when it comes to having your coffee isn't supposed to be smelling it, it's drinking it. So I think that's a pretty fair rating. Like I said, 6.5 Mike Tysons. If you enjoyed this review, hit the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, obviously, to the channel. Share the video. If you have coffees you want to send in to be reviewed on this channel, email me at shouldidrinkthis@gmail.com. If you're looking for some good books to read, go to Amazon.com, search Dana Pertola. I will have that here on the screen. Definitely check that out. Go buy some stuff. Next time you're on Instagram, follow Cocktails Chat and Just Another Dumbass Civilian. Those are also here on screen. Next time you're on Instagram, check those out. Give them a follow. And if you want to support this channel, my link to my Patreon page is right there at the top of the video description. You get some pretty cool patron rewards, plus entry into my giveaways, which do always include coffee. And yeah, see you at the next one.